This is Your Magnetic Purpose podcast, a new season focused on creativity and connection. We'll use tools like human design, tarot, and astrology, and see what happens when you let your natural rhythm lead. So let's dive in. In my humble opinion, the best creative collaborations aren't just about compatible types working together, because where would the fun be in that? Sometimes we need the other or others to trigger something inside of us. And it's about recognizing when someone has slipped out of alignment and how to guide them back. Every type has a signature feeling when they're operating within their design. For generators and manifesting generators, it's satisfaction. For projectors, it's a sense of success. Manifestors is peace, and reflectors is a sense of whimsy. And a completely different feeling when they're headed down the wrong path. For generators and manifesting generators, it's frustration. Projectors is bitterness. Manifestors is anger, and reflectors is disappointment. When you can read those signals in your collaborators, you can help the entire team recalibrate before a small issue becomes a major friction. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I am Ashley, and this is Your Magnetic Purpose podcast. And today we are exploring creative collaborations at a deeper level and how different types work together to recognize when someone is out of alignment and how to help them self-correct so the whole collaboration improves and moves forward. So first is about understanding the not self themes, or when somebody is in a bad mood or grumpy. Every type has a not self, and it is a signature state that shows up when they're operating outside of their design, or simply put, when they're doing a task they really don't want to be doing. The great thing is that all of this is useful information if you're working on a team. Imagine having a clear signal when someone is doing something that they think they should be doing versus where their actual zone of genius is. When someone on your team is consistently feeling or acting out of their not self emotions like frustration, anger, etc., something in the collaboration structure needs to shift. So generators in collaboration, when they're in alignment, they're energized by their work. Their enthusiasm is contagious, and they're building momentum and going deeper into their project naturally. They light up when they're talking about what they're creating, and it feels really great to be around a generator when they're in their flow. It's kind of like a nice warm hug. But when a generator is out of alignment, frustration starts to show up. They start forcing themselves to work on something that never really excited them in the first place. They said yes to a project for logical reasons, but their body never gave them the real response. Or they're being asked to consistently initiate new ideas instead of responding to direction. In collaboration, generators thrive when they have a clear creative direction to respond to and space to build depth. If your generator collaborator seems frustrated, check in if they're being asked to generate ideas from nothing, or if they've committed to something that their gut was never really into. Do they light up when they're talking about the project, or do they seem weighted down and kind of grumpy? Now, manifesting generators, when they're in collaboration, when they're in alignment, they move fast across multiple aspects of the project. Their energy is electric. They're finding innovative shortcuts and making unexpected connections. They're pivoting when something stops working without guilt or hesitation. But when they're out of alignment, frustration and anger can appear. If they're being forced to be too linear or to slow down, it really messes with their creative process. If they're stuck on one thing where their energy wants to move on to other things, or if they're being told they can't pivot or change direction, that means that they're feeling stuck and they become unreliable. Or they respond out of excitement to something without actually checking to see if it was really correct for them. Manifesting generators need freedom to explore multiple angles and pivot when their energy shifts. If your manifesting generator collaborator is showing frustration or anger, they're likely being restricted in ways that don't match their design, or they're being redirected to do things that they never wanted to do. Loosening the structure and watch their natural energy return is the best way to bring them back. And for your projector collaborators, when they're in alignment, they offer valuable insight that elevates the work. When they're recognized for their guidance, they work in focused bursts and they rest when it is appropriate for them. They feel seen for what they bring to this collaboration. But when they're out of alignment, bitterness creeps in. They're offering guidance that nobody asked for and feeling dismissed. They're working at a generator's pace, trying to prove their value through output instead of insight. They're in a collaboration where their strategic contributions isn't being recognized or valued, or they've pushed their way into a project instead of being invited. In collaborations, projectors thrive when their guidance is specifically requested and recognized. If your projector collaborator seems bitter, check if you've been inviting their input or if they've been fighting to be heard. A simple, "What do you see here?" can shift everything. And then your manifestor collaborations. When a manifestor is in alignment, they're initiating bold, creative directions. They work with autonomy and they're informing the team of their moves without needing any permission. They're creating momentum that builds form for the others. When a manifestor is out of alignment, anger can surface. If they're being micromanaged or consistently questioned or having to justify every creative decision. But in a collaboration, manifestors need autonomy and freedom to initiate. If your manifestor collaborator is angry, you're likely asking them to operate within constraints that feel suffocating. Give them ownership of specific aspects of the project and let them run with it. And then reflectors and collaborations. When they're in alignment, they offer incredibly perceptive feedback about the project's health. They're working in environments that feel good, and they're taking the time that they need to make decisions. They're reflecting back what is working and what is not working with remarkable accuracy. When a reflector is out of alignment, disappointment shows up. They're being rushed to make decisions before they've had a full lunar cycle. They're in a toxic or misaligned environment and absorbing all of the dysfunction. Or they're being asked to produce like other energy types. Or they're making decisions based on who they're around in the moment and maybe isn't necessarily coming from them. But in collaborations, reflectors thrive when they're given time and when their collaborative environment is healthy and feels safe. If your reflector collaborator seems disappointed, the entire team dynamic probably needs some attention. They're reflecting back something that's real. So in any creative collaboration, pay attention to the emotional climate. When multiple people are showing not self emotions, the structure itself needs to be examined. If generators are frustrated and the manifesting generators are angry, the projector is bitter all at once, you're not dealing with an individual issue, you're dealing with a collaboration design misalignment. When you notice something is sliding off the rails and people are starting to go into their not self theme, a conversation can be simple and direct. To a frustrated generator, I'm noticing something in you is frustrated. Are you excited about this direction, or should we make some changes? To an angry manifesting generator, you seem restricted. What would feel more spacious to you right now? And to a bitter projector, I want to make sure we're recognizing your insight properly. What do you need from us? To an angry manifestor, are you feeling like you have enough autonomy here, or do we need to restructure your role? And then to a disappointed reflector, how is this collaboration feeling to you? What is the energetic health of the project from your perspective? These small conversations aren't confrontational. They acknowledge that the design matters and that everyone's experience provides information about how to improve the collaboration. When you start collaborating with human design awareness, conflicts that used to feel personal become structural. The generator isn't being difficult. They're being asked to work outside of their design. And the manifester isn't being controlling. They're just protecting their autonomy. This reframe alone transforms creative partnerships. You'll stop taking misalignments personally and start adjusting the collaboration in support of everyone's design. The result is that the work feels easier and the creative output is stronger because everyone is operating from their natural strength instead of forcing themselves into roles that don't fit to try and impress people or because they think that they should. This week, if you're in a creative collaboration, notice the emotional tone. Is everyone consistently showing up in their not self theme? And if so, you're going to have a conversation. Ask what actually needs to shift structurally. One design-based adjustment can transform the entire partnership. So make sure to head over to yourmagneticpurpose.com and pull your chart or your collaborators' charts. See where you guys can come together on common ground and get ahead of where some misalignments or misunderstandings can come from. I'm Ashley. This is your Magnetic Purpose podcast, and I will see you in the next episode.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like, share, and subscribe wherever you stream your podcast. For more resources and tools to explore human design, tarot, and astrology, head over to yourmagneticpurpose.com and book a live one-on-one reading or download your free chart. Remember, the more that you align with your purpose, the more opportunities you attract.